HACSI, the Hindu American Community Services Incorporated, is a vehicle for community service in America's capital. All our scriptures remind us that service to humanity is service to God. Naraseva is Narayana Seva, is the refrain of all the Hindu saints and philosophers. Swami Vivekananda exhorted us, look upon every man, woman as God. You cannot help anyone, you can only serve. Serve the children of Lord. Serve the Lord Himself if you have the privilege. It is no wonder then that Hindus have been generous in supporting worthwhile causes. However, with the exception of building hundreds of Hindu temples in this country, philanthropy of Hindu Americans is mostly directed to India, which is understandable in any first-generation immigrant community. Now that our children and grandchildren call America their home, a time has come for all of us to take interest in serving the disadvantaged sections in our local community. In Greater Washington, a few Hindu individuals and some temples have been engaged in activities such as feeding the poor, assisting seniors, and mentoring children in inner communities. These sporadic efforts are, however, not well coordinated within the local Hindu community, whereas other faith groups, particularly the Christians, Jews, and the Muslims, have set up extensive community service organizations as part of their activities. Around 2008, a few Hindu families started pondering how best to create an organization which could provide community services for and on behalf of the Hindus.
There were three developments in 2008 which gave a sense of urgency. The economic meltdown of 2008 saw a dramatic increase in the number of persons who lost their jobs. Many more depended on homeless shelters for their daily sustenance. As more Hindu American groups started joining the Food for the Homeless initiative, a need arose to balance the volunteer help with the funds needed. Around that time, hundreds of refugees from Bhutan were being resettled by US government in Washington-Baltimore area. Some 2,000 families would arrive in phases between 2008 and 2012. These families needed help to adjust to new environment. They needed help in seeking jobs. Many needed health care. Their children needed computers. Something had to be done urgently.
Thus was born HACSI, Hindu American Community Services Incorporated, in the state of Maryland as a non-profit organization. HACSI's mission is to facilitate Hindu Americans to provide community, charitable, educational, and relief services. HACSI is not affiliated with any temple or any other organization. It works with all like-minded organizations, coordinating their efforts and supplementing their services to fill identified gaps. The way the Food for Homeless program is managed amply demonstrates HACSI's modus operandi.
Providing food, clothing, and shelter to your parents and children is your duty. Assisting your friends and relatives is a good deed. Assisting the poor and the needy is the real service to God.
Under HACSI's umbrella, 16 organizations are preparing some 75,000 meals in the DC Central Kitchen, which has the capacity to prepare 4,500 meals at any time. It is truly a sight to see the enthusiasm of youngsters from the Hindu American community participate in this community service effort.
It's been just a tremendous relationship. Since 2007, thousands and thousands and thousands of meals, healthy meals, have gone up to the shelter, and programs all around the community, programs, after-school programs, battered women's shelters, drug treatment centers, places where people can heal physically. But also the important part is the agencies we partnered with have been able to save hundreds of thousands of dollars that they can then redirect towards healing people. That's one of the powerful parts of this relationship. And I'm very interested in the idea of both the oppressed and the oppressor being healed at the same time. You know, what's exciting about the kitchen is it's a chance for people to work side by side. You know, men and women in our job training program, the volunteers, whether they're great young men and women, the future of our country, whether they're old timers like you and me.
Here at DC Central Kitchen, we make close to 5,000 meals every day. About half of those go to the city shelters, and the other half go to a whole series of agencies, whether they're transitional homes, halfway houses, after-school programs for kids, senior centers, financial literacy programs for women who are victims of abuse. What we are aiming to do is provide meals to these agencies for free so that they can invest their resources in their programs and services to further empower and liberate their clients. The Hindu community here, by them coming in and bringing in these tremendous groups of people that are energized and want to be part of what we do, they help us do our job better, so in turn the many agencies that we serve can do their job better. When we can provide meals with fresh, healthy vegetables, brown rice, salads like this group does, that only makes our job more successful. Just imagine 250,000 meals, and that's what this group has done for us. This group and all the other groups that have sprung from it have accounted for well over $100,000. So a lot of the money that we raise, and we raise through the Hindu community, is used not only to buy food, but to provide good paying jobs with benefits.
You know, you've opened the door to the Hindu community. You know, to me, that's the great treasure. We'd love to do more. For us, it's the ongoing partnership. You know, you brought so many people here, so many different groups. So the idea that this, what started out as a one-time event, has now grown into not just an annual, but I think a long-term partnership.
And for us, this is something which we see as beneficial not only to the community here, but to the campus community back home from where we're from. And it was probably one of the most insightful experiences we've had. This is something which we look forward to coming back to every year. This is a partnership which we want young students from college to become very familiar with and make it a habit of their life. This is something which we have a lot of fun doing, because not only are we getting to know one another, we're getting to know students from other schools.
I just think it's a very fun way of doing community service.
If you look in the kitchen, everyone's having fun, everyone's joking around. At the same time, we're doing something that is going to help the community in a greater way.
HACSI has provided many amenities for the Bhutanese communities since their welfare is of utmost importance to HACSI. HACSI has arranged for computer literacy courses and donated over 25 computers to the school-going children. It arranged for driver education to a few adult members to facilitate their being gainfully employed. In addition, HACSI arranged unemployed women with skills in knitting and tailoring to produce items for sale. Also, HACSI has been providing monthly satsang fora for the Bhutanese families so that they can continue to impart spiritual and cultural traditions to their children. No wonder, therefore, that next to the government, these Bhutanese families turn to HACSI for their needs. Indeed, HACSI wants them to feel that they are very much welcome and accepted as our dear neighbors.
We have good contact with Indo-American Community Services, and they have been helping us in many sectors like free medical camps, computer literacy classes, distribution of computers to the needy families in our community, and also other stuffs like giving winter clothes and all the stuff. We have been so proud to have Indo-American Community Services with us working together.
They have been doing counseling to the newly arrived people about American culture, American way of living and stuff. Food distribution, clothes distribution, like winter clothes, some warm clothes.
HACSI's Benevolent Fund is intended to help disadvantaged members of the Hindu community who suddenly face calamities like death or protracted sickness. In 2010, HACSI provided a donation of $5,000 to cover emergency expenditure to a family with 2 disabled children whose only breadwinner suddenly passed away. In 2011, when two Bhutanese youngsters were shot in Baltimore in a robbery incident in which one of them died, HACSI provided $5,000 to take care of immediate expenses. What HACSI has done so far is minuscule compared to the needs of the Hindu community. As such incidents cannot be predicted in advance, it is important that adequate funds are collected in a benevolent fund dedicated to providing financial relief to needy families. Having at least $100,000 as seed money in this fund is HACSI's goal.
To many Americans, the Asian religions remain a mystery. Yet the presence of the Asian religions has been growing on American soil almost from the country's beginning. Over time, Asian religious practices began to influence and transform everyday life for ordinary Americans who discovered yoga, meditation, the martial arts, and healing. This documentary explores the beliefs, practices, and rituals of Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism. Examining the similarities and differences with the Abrahamic religions, how they perceive each other, confront prejudice and stereotypes, and how they can understand and respect one another.
This documentary explains the tenets of the Indic religions and compares them with those of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, and is now being shown over 150 PBS stations and will reach a good part of over 100 million people. But public television is not typically, as you all know, watched by middle and high school students. As stereotype impressions and misconceptions are formed at a young age and very hard to remove, HACSI has joined the effort to distribute this documentary and the teaching guide to all middle and high school and junior colleges in the country. Another initiative, Teaching About Religions, prepared by Interfaith Conference of Washington, discusses the beliefs and practices of all 11 major religions of the world. Answers for questions about each religion are prepared by scholars who are practitioners of that religion, thus ensuring authenticity. Many teachers in Virginia are already using this teaching about religions as additional teaching material in their classes. Hindu community has often complained about school textbooks in the United States giving a distorted picture of our Hindu faith. So it is important for the Hindu community to extend your support now for wider dissemination of this authentic and objective material nationwide.
HACSI is still in a nascent stage, but it has certainly made a difference in the lives of many thousand people of our community. This young organization has set its sight high, as HACSI's founder chairman said at the time of HACSI's formation in March 2009.
Our dream is that one day HACSI will become an international community service organization like Red Cross and United Way.
With God's help and material and moral support from all of you, this dream will surely come true.